We're on. Today we're interviewing Rayburn Shrout, who was born on November 11th, 1937. Ray served in the U.S. Army from the time between July 1961 to July 1963, achieving the rank of Corporal E4. Today's date is October 2nd, 2012, and we are at the Clifford Thompson American Post Legion 43 in Troy, Ohio. This interviewing has been conducted by Jeff Gerlach and assisted by Paul Holt as part of the Veterans History Project in connection with the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress and under the sponsorship of the Clifford Thompson American Legion Post 43 and the Miami County Veterans History Project. Good afternoon, Ray. We thank you for coming in today. We're looking forward to hearing about your military experience. To begin with, tell us a little bit about your early background, your family, where you were born, your schooling, and the time leading up into your induction.
Thank you. I'm Rayburn Shrout. I was born in Flemingsburg, Kentucky, November 11th, 1937, to Howard and Lorena Shrout. I have one sister, Jane, one brother, Harlan, and none of my brother nor my father, neither one in the service. In my early years, I was raised on a farm. I went to Elizaville school, grade school, for 8 years in Elizaville, Kentucky. Graduated from there, 8th grade, went to Fleming County High School in Flemingsburg, Kentucky, and graduated after 4 years of high school. From there, I went to Troy, Ohio, got a job working at a nursery, and worked there for about 3 or 4 months. I met a girl named Shella Gates, and we got married in 1958. And after 1958, started in 1959, I worked at A.O. Smith's, and when I was working at A.O. Smith's, when I got inducted into the service, I got called, drafted. And from there,
And where were you inducted at?
Here in Troy. I got
In Troy.
inducted here in Troy, Ohio. But I left from Kentucky. When I had to go back to Kentucky, that's where my draft was. So I went back to Kentucky and took my physical and everything, and then I come back home, and I got my call, and I was gone.
Ray, how did you have to pick Troy, Ohio? Let's go back a little bit. How did you have to pick Troy, Ohio to move to after you got out of school?
Could find work. Yeah, there was nothing to do in Kentucky at that time.
But Troy, Ohio attracted you, or somebody said they're looking for help there?
I had a friend who was working up there.
Oh, okay.
And he asked me to come back. He came home and he asked me to come back with him. So I did, and I got a job, and
That's super.
yeah.
And then you say when you got drafted, though, you were drafted from Kentucky, not Troy Draft Board.
Right, Kentucky Draft Board, yes.
Well, where did Kentucky induct you down there? Fort Thomas or where?
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox, okay.
And then, of course, we went through the physical and everything there, and that was, it's quite different, the physical than any other physical you've ever had.
What year was that?
That was in 1961.
61.
61.
Did they ask you, you stood around the room with a bunch of guys with shorts on, huh?
Yeah, and nothing on. That's right. It was quite an experience. I mean, everybody gets treated the same. I mean,
That's right.
There's no difference in it. But the hardest thing was about my draft. We'd got married in 1958, and the hardest thing was I was standing there waiting on the bus station, waiting for the bus to come and pick us up. My wife, my mom, and my dad was sitting there in the car, and seeing them drive off, not knowing what I was facing.
That's right.
That was
What was her name?
Shella, Shella, S-H-E-L-L-A.
That's a difficult time.
Yes, it was. That's probably one of the hardest things I
Say
had.
goodbye to your family
At
and
that
and a new
time-
bride on top of it.
Pardon?
And a new bride on top of it.
Yeah, about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And up to that point, that's the hardest thing I've had to face in life, really. But it was, you get adjusted to it after
Oh,
everything. Yeah.
Well, the bus took you to where then?
Fort Knox.
Okay.
Fort Knox. And then, like you said, you get your hair cut, hair buzzed off, you get your clothes and everything. And it's just a lot to get used to from what the normal life was. A lot stricter, and a lot of things to learn about the military life. And then, of course, I took my basic training there at Fort Knox, and that was in the hot part of summer too, and not being used to all the physical stuff that you have to go through for basic training, that was kind of rough. And then I think it was July. Yeah, it was July when I was in Fort Knox. And I stayed there till September.
Well, in the basic training, you said that a lot of things you went through that you're not used to. What, like, for example, what are you talking about?
Well, all the physical training you had to do, and
What was that?
push-ups, pull-ups, running, any kind of exercise about you can think of.
So you hadn't been doing those things, huh?
No, not really. Not every day. And then food, it wasn't what I was used to at home. But, and everything had to be on time, just on time, everything, get up early, everything like that. And then you have rifle ranges, and all that gear you had to carry around.
Well, had you handled weapons before?
I had a little bit, not a whole lot. But it was, it was a lot different what the normal life was. And we finished up in September. We went to Fort Raleigh, Kansas for advanced training.
Fort what?
Fort Raleigh.
Fort Riley?
At that point, had they already assigned you an MOS, a job? Or,
No.
okay.
And then that was we had advanced training there for several weeks. I don't know, probably 12, 16 weeks. And then I think it was about November of that year, 62.
What was, maybe you might explain a little bit more about what was involved in your advanced training?
At Fort Riley.
Yes.
It was preparing us for combat training, really, We had rifle range, going underground, live fire, going over under barbed wire, climbing walls, and swimming in a river, and about everything you could think of, So it's a lot of night maneuvers. Sleeping out over camping, in tents overnight, eating out of a mess kit. And then you had all your other PK, KP duty and all that stuff, to go along with that. Cleaning barracks. And in November, we went to Colorado Pikes Peak for more training out there, mountain training. Cold weather training. It was a big snow on the ground. We got out there, rode out there in the back of a deuce and a half truck, like they froze to death. I think that's the coldest I've ever had in my life. Was riding that deuce and a half out to We was out there, I think, got back just before Christmas.
Yeah. Was there any speculation on what kind of training you were getting and where you might be going after that?
Not really, that we didn't know. They just, I guess there was with them, but that was just part of the training, we had to take.
So how long were you at Pikes Peak?
I think 2 weeks. And it was just like regular combat, going through combat maneuvers and stuff like that,
Sure.
and wading through snow about between waist deep and knee deep, and carrying all them backpack and everything you had on your back, and the weapons.
So you went from one extreme to the other, boot camp in
Yes,
Kentucky
right.
in the heat of summer to,
Cold. It was cold. You had to walk a long ways to get to the mess kit or get your food.
Oh.
You throw that stuff in the food in that little old mess kit, and the time you walk off somewhere to eat it, it almost froze.
so you must have stayed in the field almost the entire 2
We
weeks.
was in the field the whole time.
Did you sleep in pup tents
Yep,
and sleeping bags?
sleeping bags.
Did you take clothes off or leave them on?
We left them on,
That's terrific.
as it was cold.
Did you sleep with your rifle?
Yeah, I think so. That's one thing I got in trouble over once. I walked off, we was out, been doing exercises. This was when I was in Fort Riley. And we were doing exercises and they gave us a break. Well, I put my rifle down and walked off and went and got a drink of water. And the sergeant caught me. And when I got back, he said, "You will eat with that rifle, you will sleep with that rifle for so many days." I don't know how many it was. So I had to eat with that every time I went to eat, had to carry that rifle, and every time I went to bed, had to have that rifle with me. And that was a lesson to learn. You never walk off and leave your rifle in your army. That's
Your life might depend upon it, right?
That's right. That's,
So we're at the end of the 2 weeks in Colorado. Where was your next assignment?
we went back to Fort Riley.
By that time, you'd obviously been assigned to some form of an entry position,
Yeah, I was an automatic rifleman.
BAR.
Mm-hmm.
Explain what a BAR is.
Well, it's a very automatic fast weapon. I mean, I forget how many rounds it fires a minute. And it's heavy. And it fits on a tripod. You put that tripod down, put the rifle in that, lay it down on the ground and fire it. But to carry it, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Now, were assigned an assistant though? Is there a BAR man and an assistant BAR man, or is there a squad? You're part of a weapons squad.
Part of a squad, yes.
Okay.
But I didn't have no assistant. They was, I don't know how many, 7, 9 people in the squad.
Usually.
Usually 7 or 9 people in the squad. Everybody had some sort of weapons. Some of them had 45s. Some of them had M16s, M14s, whatever it was at that time. And everybody had their own weapon.
Okay.
What did that BAR and the tripod weigh? How much?
I would say close to 20 pounds,
And did you have to carry that all by yourself?
yes,
Plus your pack?
plus my pack.
Mm-hmm.
20 pounds doesn't sound like a lot if it's just 20
But it's-
pounds.
with all the other
You've got
stuff.
everything you've got a load on.
Yeah,
Okay, so you came back to Fort Riley, and this was approximately when?
this was in December, I believe it was, right before Christmas.
1961?
Mhm.
And did you just go back, you were assigned, you were in the 12th Infantry then?
Yes.
Were you assigned, to any other units while you were at Fort Riley?
No. This C Company is the 12th Infantry there. And after we got back, I got a leave for Christmas. So I got home for Christmas that year. And went back to,
How were you able to get home from Kansas?
I took a bus. And went back from my leave. Back. We stayed at Fort Riley till up in the summer, I believe it was. And we went to Germany. They called us a meeting that everybody had to attend this meeting, and they told us we was going overseas, but they wouldn't tell us exactly at the time where we were going. And they give us orders to write to our wives or parents or whoever you know and tell them not to write to us until we got to our destination, and then we could let them know where we was at. And then that was, I believe it was in August, I believe, when we went to Germany.
And how did you get over there? And did you go as a unit or?
Yeah, we went as a unit. We flew into Frankfurt. And then from Frankfurt, we went to a little place out in the middle of nowhere called Wild Flicking. And it was bare. There was nothing there. And we stayed there, not very long, maybe a couple months. And then we went on into Berlin. We went to Berlin by bus, or truck, Army trucks.
What were your living, quarters like while you were in, Frankfurt?
While flicking the barracks were very old. I mean, they were very old. And we got there, we didn't have any hot water. The water was cold. You had to take a cold shower as soon as we got there. I mean, but we soon got the water heated back on and everything. And there we just did some training. Really wasn't much went on.
Well, you mentioned you served during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes.
I don't recall the timing on that, but was that before or after you got to Germany?
It was going on when we got there. That was the main reason that they sent us over there to be prepared if something did happen.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the dates were, but so you were aware of all that going on.
Oh yeah, yes.
So did they keep you on high alert? The
Yeah,
entire time?
we were when we were in Berlin. Of course, that's in the city. Berlin's just the cities. That's about all there is there. And we had the trucks loaded with everything, sitting there on alert, ready if something happened, and we were ready to go. But they had a big park there that we went out in, done a few maneuvers and stuff. It was part of the Black Forest of Germany. That was beautiful. Germany is a beautiful country, where I was at anyway.
So how long were you on actually high alert, though?
All the time we were in Berlin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, Berlin was where the wall, the wall was, the barbed wire wall and everything between the east and the west. And we were able to walk up and down the wall. You'd be walking on one side and communists walking on the other side. And seen all the Checkpoint Charlie and Brandenburg Gate and all the sights there was to see there in Berlin, we were able to walk right there and see it, you know. And it really gave you an opportunity that I would have never had otherwise.
Were you under any restrictions in your travel while you were there?
No, I mean, we could go downtown, you know, whenever we were off duty. And then they did, just before we left, they did allow us to take a little short bus tour over into East Germany. Now, that was something to see, because it was laying there in rubble, just like it was when they blowed it up. I mean, you know, everything was just a rubble, you know, over on the...
Well, the wall was still up, though.
The wall was still up, yes.
But you were able to take a trip over to East Germany.
We took a short trip, bus trip over.
Escorted?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, it was.
Well, then you actually you were really a temporary duty in Berlin then. And you only there how many months?
6 or 7 months.
6 to 7. So they just sent your unit over for that emergency.
That emergency, that was what we was there.
Oh, okay. That clarifies it.
Yeah.
And your mission, do you know what the mission was of your unit? What was your mission?
Just to be prepared to, you know,
To fight.
to fight. If they hadn't turned the ship around and send it back.
Yep.
If there'd been war, we was there ready to go.
So you were dispatched right in the front then, right? You'd have been the first guys involved.
Probably so.
Did you ever think about how dangerous that was?
Yeah. You know, when there's war, can happen any time, you know, it makes you think.
And you were only infantry? Did you have any armor attached to you or anything else around you to support you?
Not right there.
Interesting.
But it was a good experience.
Well, where were you quartered then? Did they put you on a regular army base, or were you in temporary base somewhere?
It was just or I guess it'd be call it a temporary base, because we were right in the city, you know. And
Well, was it former army barracks or?
it must have been, because they were our barracks, you know. It wasn't like a
They
hotel.
were barracks then?
Yeah, it wasn't like a hotel or anything.
Oh, okay. So you really had an army post then?
Yeah.
Were there any other units attached there, or just yours?
As far as I know, we were the only one in there right then.
And how large was that unit that was yours? How many, was it a battalion or division? What size was it, do you know?
It was pretty good size. I don't remember just the call. I know there was four companies.
Probably a battalion then.
Uh-huh. And
Right, Jeff? Yeah.
Well, if you were 12th Infantry Division, it just depends on how big your unit was that went over. Was it
Yeah.
the whole division, or was it, you know, part of a division or regiment or battalion?
it was, of course, that's part of the Big Red One, you know.
Okay.
You're familiar with the Big Red,
Sure.
heard of it? And I don't think all of it went. I know all of our 4 companies there and headquarters and everything, they all went, but I mean, for what else went, I don't know.
That is interesting. So you stayed there for almost 7 months?
I think it's about 7 months, yeah.
So the crisis must have abated and, you know,
Right.
they didn't need you there any longer. So how did you get home?
We flew back to Kansas.
How many planes, you know, hauled you back?
I'm not
Don't
sure
know.
how many planes it was.
I'd be curious about where they flew you to. Did Fort Riley have a landing strip? Did they fly you to Fort Riley or somewhere else?
No, it wasn't Fort Riley. I think we come into, what the name of the town was there?
Was it a city? Like Kansas City or something, or?
I think it was, yes.
Okay, so then they trucked you then to post then from there.
Yeah, back to the base.
Interesting.
So how much time did you have left by the time you got back to Fort Riley?
Fort Riley, we got back to Fort Riley in, I think it was January or February of '62. And then I stayed there till I was discharged. They had a lot of rifle competitions and stuff going on there at Fort Riley after we got back. And that's mostly what we did after we got back, was just work with this rifle competition that was going on there. It was about 2 or 3 months of that. And keeping score of the, for the rifle ranges and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't bad after we got back. We didn't have that much training and stuff.
During the time you were back in Fort Riley, was your family or your wife able to come visit you?
No, they didn't come.
Well, when you got back from Germany, you get a little leave again?
Yeah, I got home,
They gave you some leave when you got back from Germany?
yes. I got to leave, I think it was in January after we got back from,
So you were home a couple weeks?
yes.
How was your reception when you got back home then, on your leave? They were pretty excited to see you then, huh?
Oh, yeah. It was, it's just been gone for a while, and everybody's glad to see you.
During that 2 years, you probably only got to see your family and your wife a couple of times?
Twice. I was home Christmas the first year I was in, and I got home then after I got back from Germany.
Now, when you say home, do you mean Troy or do
Troy.
you mean Kentucky?
Troy.
Troy.
But I went to Kentucky because my parents still lived in Kentucky, but actually
Okay,
Troy was where I was living.
okay.
My wife, she was working all the time, but I was in the service.
So she probably was saving your allotment though, right? Huh?
Yeah, she done a good job.
That's fine.
You got promoted when the service, didn't you? Once or twice?
Yeah.
And when did that happen?
Well, let's see. I got, of course, go in as a private and go private first class.
Right.
Then I to corporal. I was corporal probably just before we went to Germany.
That change your responsibilities at all? You're in charge of a squad or what?
No,
Or-
I wasn't in charge of no squad now. He didn't even change my responsibilities. No.
And you're still BAR?
Yes.
I think probably by the time you got out, they were just about retired, the BAR from
Yeah, they were
service.
Yeah.
They would change to the M14 to the M16. That happened right after, not too long after I went in. They went from my M,
So you truly were one of the last BAR men.
probably.
Yeah, I was going to say they had enough firepower in the M16, right?
Pardon?
The M16 had a lot of firepower.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit lighter to carry around.
Yeah, it was lighter than the M14, yeah. A lot lighter than the BAR. But,
So you were mustered out in July of '63.
63, yeah.
Was that a jubilant day for you and your family and your wife?
Yes, it was. We left,
Was that from Fort Riley also, or did they send you somewhere else?
Fort Riley.
They separated your service from Fort Riley, gave you your money, and then you flew home or bussed home, or
No,
they came and got you?
I had a friend that lived in southern Ohio, and his wife was out there. So I rode home with him.
Hey,
And that date again on when you were mustered out was what?
July the 23rd, 63.
So tell us a little bit about your reception when you got home and, you know, what transpired after that.
Well, when I got home, of course, my wife was looking for me, and she was working. When I got home, my neighbor took me to, she worked at a bank, so my neighbor took me to the bank, and then the bank let my wife off the rest of that day. So she had the car and everything, and, you know, and we,
What bank was she working for?
first, well, at that time, it was First National Bank in Troy,
Downtown?
downtown,
The old bank building?
the old bank building. And then, I took, when I went into the service, I was working at A.O. Smith's in Tip City. And then when I got out, I went back to work there, and that was in '63. I went back to work at A.O. Smith's. And I worked there till '64. And I went to General Motors. And I worked at General Motors for a little over 32 years, and I retired in 1997 from General Motors. I was just a production worker at the General Motors.
What plant?
It was one uptown. Well, I worked there, all three of them. It was made Frigidaires and air conditioners, and they made appliances and air conditioners. Each one's
Okay. The old Frigidaire plant.
the old Frigidaire plant. And now there's none. It's all gone.
So did you start a family somewhere in the, during that time?
1964, your first son was born. Name was Scott. July 1964. And later, 1968, we had twins, a boy and a girl. The girl's name was Jennifer. The boy's name was Jeffrey. And now they've all been married, got their families. And just me and my wife now.
Well, how many grandchildren do you have?
I got 4 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild.
Any of the grandchildren been in the service?
They're not old enough.
Not old enough.
Now there's high school, well, one girl, oldest one's 23, and the youngest one is 5.
Oh,
From 23 to 5.
Jennifer, and your other twin was
Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
born January the 5th, 1968.
Well, looking back at your military experience, you know, what were the most lasting impressions that the Army left on you as an individual?
Well, you know, the military is definitely necessary. You see all that's going on in the world today, and there's got to be protection. And if it wasn't for the military, we wouldn't have it. So, you know, that's where our freedom comes from. And it learns you a lot of responsibility. I mean, you know, you just don't take everything for granted that you've been through the military, you know. It teaches you a lot of discipline. And it was enjoyable, really. I mean, there was times it was hard. It was, you know, leaving your wife and everything. It was hard. There were disappointments, but all in all, I'm glad to serve our country.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, you know, about your military experience?
Well, it gave me the opportunity to be places and see things that I would have never seen and got to go. And you know, you meet a lot of friends from all different walks of life. everything like that.
That's true. They send you places that you never go on your own.
That's exactly right. And
Ray, we've enjoyed talking to you today and hearing about your experiences and learning more about you and your family and your life. And on behalf of the American people and the Veterans History Project, we'd like to thank you.
thank you.